So driving audience attention. How do you achieve that? By using photographic composition. So hi everyone, I hope you guys liked the last two videos. I had a little bit of a break. My last camera 6D got broken. It was a bit of a journey. I tried recording with my 50D and finally we're recording from Canon EOS RP. Canon EOS RP, which is a full frame mirrorless camera from Canon. In the future videos I will be probably sharing with you guys how does it works to use this camera, rather for video, for photography. This weekend I experimented using this camera. Actually, two friends of mine, they just got married and they came over, so we organized a photo shoot project that I'm going to share in the blog, so I hope you guys have a look there in the blog. Lucas and Vinicius were here for the pink photo shoot, the pink weekend, and I had the chance to experiment with this camera. So I do have some images that I have composed to share with you guys and talk you through a little bit of those images. What is that composition? But to start talking about composition, I'm gonna quote you something that I just found on Google. Composition in photography can be defined as positioning the object in a frame in such a way that the viewer's eye is automatically drawn to the most interesting or significant area of the capture. That's a very interesting way to put it, because not only give you a sense that this is a visual distortion of reality that you might create for your audience, it's a visual message or a story building that you might give into your audience through a visual framing, let's say. So to talk about composition, there are a few topics that you might have to understand, and those topics mainly are building a story, as I was just saying, intentional framing, which I'm going to break down in a few techniques that you might be able to use, and finally testing your idea. So having that in mind, the first thing that I would like to open to you guys, the habit of building a story. In order to build a story through a visual way, in composition, you might frame your subject and place your subject in different areas of the screen or of the picture that you might want to convey your message. The rule of thirds have been used many times in paintings, for example, where you can observe that the painter decided to place the subject in the very corner of the screen in order to make sure that that's the central point information of that painting. In photography we do the same, and by this I mean if you have a subject which is placed to the right, you're probably going to change your perspective on whatever you're looking at the screen. One of the things you guys can get familiar with is when you put the subject eye on the top line, you might direct the message to the audience as well. If you place a subject in the very center of it, that also might cause some perception changes from the viewer. So literally now you're looking at my face, you're staring at me, and you see that I'm the most important information in the screen. When I step back, your perception changes, obviously. There's a great amount of factors on that directs the human eye, but the fact is that the audience tends to respond to those tricks. One of the ways you can send a message by framing a subject is framing them in different sides of the screen. I'm going to show you guys some of the images that we recorded those days and show you different framings on that.
See where you were?
Yeah.
Abhjälpsstad eller Strada Mallerström.
To make sure I'm not giving up now. We can still keep it upright. Stay behind me to make sure all the ways wanna fall down. You will still keep me up.
Subject running from left to right tends to generate an idea that the subject is moving forward. Left to right to left, it tends to generate the idea that the subject is moving backwards. And those are just tricks that we have in filmmaking in order to create a story. A good way of showing different ways of conveying a message is just moving around your subject or asking your subject to move around in order to change the frame. It's just playing with different angles. So if you keep, even if you keep your subject in the same place, but you're the one moving around, you might cause different feeling into composition. So just try getting different angles, placing your camera in different positions, that you might be surprised on how that looks like. I'll be adding more tricks about it because there are several of them in the blog and you guys can read in detail just there. Another thing that I always like talking about is the golden spiral. And the golden spiral it can be found many times in nature, in flowers, in some snails, for example, if I'm not wrong, and even older civilizations have been drawing over and over again. We don't understand why, but just like any other rule, it just seems to be pleasing to the human eye. I would highly encourage you guys to search a bit more about it on Google. Symmetry versus asymmetry. Not everything has to be symmetric. It's very important to know that symmetry, it's very pleasing to the eye, but symmetry distorted or asymmetry might also be pleasing to the eye. Sometimes if you place something in the very edge of the frame, even though it's a very small portion of the subject, we want to know more what is that about, and that's when asymmetry might play a stronger role of that. It can also be disturbing, and you might not like that image just because that asymmetry doesn't seem right. So yes, as a human, we're very picky on what we like and what we don't like. You also can crop the image to a level that you might intensify whatever you want to tell the audience. So cropping the image this way, you see that my head is cut, but definitely you see I'm talking to you. And you can have a different feeling on how that interacts with the viewer itself. The next thing I wanted to talk to you guys is depth of field. And you can see how the images are separated from the background. The reason for that is that the aperture was very open, so it was 1.8 and 50 millimeters. Obviously talking that lenses might cause a different kind of composition on your image that we can discuss in the blog as well. So using a very open aperture causes a different depth of field, and therefore it changes the composition of your image as well, playing with the different shapes and textures in behind or ahead of your own image. Diana Vreeland, one of the first editors of Vogue, and I really like what she says, is simplifies everything about composition. The eye has to travel. And for me, that's what we really means when you're trying to build a composition and actually really drive the attention of your viewers' eyes, is to make sure that whatever they're looking at in the frame, in a painting, in the photography, in the filming, that they are entertained by their own vision, that their eyes are entertained enough and they have what to discover over and over again, rather questioning themselves, rather identifying or finding any meaning in that kind of art. I hope you guys like what I have shared about composition. We're going to be sharing tons of videos like those and talking about different topics. Please suggest down below if you want to see anything specifically or if you have any feedback to us. Don't forget checking our Patreon, and in the next video we're going to be sharing a little bit the behind the scenes and how we have built our last photo shoot called Pink Photo Shoot. So if you want to know anything specifically about our photo shoot and how do you do the lighting, how we play with colors, or anything that you see our images on our website and you want to know how we made it, please let us know down below.
Underline it to make sure I'm not giving up now. We can still keep it up right. You will still keep me up right.